Okay, so in this video we're gonna add our final touch to our game. Our game is almost done, it's looking very professional. The only thing that we need to add is a way to draw the score on the board when the game over panel comes down. So if we play the game, we can see that if we get, for example, a score of 1, 2, and 3, we can see that when the game over panel comes here, the score is already being drawn to the board or to the panel, but we want to actually draw it once it comes here. So we want it to go from 0 to the score that we got in the game. Okay, so to this we need to add an extra behavior. So to do this, let's go to Visual Studio and let's see how this would work. Also, okay, so when the game over animation finishes, so here we are in the game over anim script, we are calling the method, so we're setting the method to true, we're activating our method, and we also want to draw the score. Okay, so one way you can use comments is like this to write the behavior that you want to happen in a single place. So here we need to call a method that draws the score. Okay, so let's implement this method inside the game manager. So let's go to our game manager script, and in here we know that we have a reference to the score of the game, but we're also going to create another int variable, so int called draw score. This is going to be the score that we're going to draw to the panel. Okay, so now what do we do? Okay, so we can create a new method here. Let's create a new method called public, of type public, void draw score. And inside this method, what we're going to do is that we're going to check if draw score is greater or equal that game score, and we're going to be writing the score to the panel. So we also need a reference to the panel high score. So let's type it in here. So public text, and you can see that we cannot declare a type text, and it is because we need to use the UI library. So using Unity engine.ui, and now we can declare a text. So panel score, because we want to, this is what we want to reference, our panel score. This is where we want to change and modify. And inside our draw score, we want to check if draw score is less than or equal to game score. So if draw score is less than or equal to game score, then we're going to say panel score dot text is equal to draw score dot to string, and then we're going to add 1 to draw score. So draw score plus plus. So draw score is going to be like a counter. So in the beginning, draw score is going to be equal to 0. So we're going to draw 0, and then it's going to be equal to 1, to 2, and to 3. And how do we do this? Well, there should be a way to call this method again and again and again. And we could do it with a loop, but another way we can do it is by calling this method, and below here we can just call the method itself again. So to do this, we just type invoke, and we're gonna call our own method. So draw score, and then we're going to do this after 0.05 seconds. So we're gonna be calling this method every 0.05 seconds. We will be drawing the score to the panel. All right, so apparently everything is done, everything is set. Now the only thing we need to do is go to our game over animation script, and in here we need a reference to our game manager. So we're going to say public game manager. We need a reference to our game manager, and once we have that reference, we're going to say in here game manager dot draw score. So we want to draw the score when the animation of the game over panel ends. So when the game over panel comes down to the middle of the screen, we want to start drawing the score. And one thing we also want to do is that we want to go to our score script, and inside our score script we don't want to be updating the panel score text, because we already have a reference outside. So we already have this reference in our game manager script. So now let's try to assign the references that we need. We need to assign the reference of the public text panel score here, and we need to assign the reference in the game over animation to the game manager. Okay, so let's try to do that. Let's go to the Unity editor, and inside here we're gonna look for our game manager, and we see that we need a reference to our panel score. So make sure you drag, so click and drag panel score to this field. All right, and now we need to go to our game over object, and in our game over anim script we need a reference to the game manager. So drag the game manager onto this field. All right, so now we can save the game, we can play. Let's get a score of 3 for example and see what happens. Perfect, the score draws on the board. So if we get a score of 20, it will draw from 0 to 20. Perfect, so that's gonna be it for the game for now, and the only thing we need to do right now is to add the last touches to the game, the last modifications, before we can publish it to the Google Play Store. I'll see you in the next video.